Hi, I'm Todd with Kegconnection, and today I'm going to show you how to take beer out of a secondary fermenter and put it into a keg. I've already sanitized the keg, and I've sanitized all the pieces, the auto siphon and all the other parts that I would need to actually do the process. Keep in mind, it's always important to keep things sanitized, but it's not as critical at this stage because you have alcohol and hops and everything in the beer, so it's a lot more stable at this point. So we're just going to take the top off here. And we're going to take this out of the solution. I use Star San, which is a no-rinse sanitizing solution. So, I mean, obviously you don't want it full of it, but it's no rinse, so it's okay to have residuals of the sanitizer. Put this back together. And it's a very simple process, as I mentioned. You just put the auto siphon in here and then put the other end in the keg or you'll really have a mess. And you want to prime it by going up and down a few times. Once it's primed, the beer is flowing in, and it's always good to keep the hose on the bottom so you don't create a lot of bubbles and so forth. And what I like to do is just either hold it and work your way down, or you can put it right in the center, slightly higher in the center, and then that way if you do have any residuals left over in the clarification process of the secondary fermenter, you're not grabbing those because you've got it in the center where it's slightly higher. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this drain for a moment, and then we'll come back and show you the rest of the process. So now at this point we're towards the bottom. I'm going to tilt it slightly because you will start to lose your siphon. Push this down, but make sure that I'm not pulling too much of the residual part that you clarified out as part of your secondary fermentation process. So we're to the point now where we're pulling the last bit out, and you want to watch your keg and make sure that you don't overflow it. Not that I've ever done that. And it should be ready in just a moment. Okay, it's almost full now, and what'll happen towards the very end, you'll either fill your keg up enough to where you stop, or you'll start to lose suction. And when you start to lose suction, it will be very obvious because it'll make a sound and the air will come up. So now you can go ahead and remove your siphon. I always like to try to capture just a little bit of beer so I can taste it and see how the batch turned out, which by the way is pretty good. Now you want to take your lid. I have this one in sanitizer. Put the lid on, you just twist it on, push it down. And then the next process is to purge any air that you might still have in your system. Now you can leave this connected to your kegerator and have the hose coming out of your kegerator, but I brought it out here just to show you a little bit easier. So you hook up your air. I put it at about 10 psi is plenty. And then you want to just purge some air out, let it build up again. I like to purge it about 3 or 4 times. Helps if you have your gas on. One thing, if you have your keg too full, sometimes it'll actually spurt out of this, so be careful not to fill it to the very, very tip top. And now that we've purged this out, we can go ahead, put this beer in the fridge, start to cool it down, and then we'll be ready to either force carbonate or naturally carbonate. If you're naturally carbonating, you would have mixed in some priming sugar. I'm going to be forced carbonating, so I didn't do that. Again, this is how to transfer beer from your secondary fermenter into a keg from Kegconnection.com.